Is the managing partner and co founder of Xagon Ventures, based out of Dubai, UAE. She collaborates with co investment partners, venture builders, and early stage tech startups in India. Pooja is a serial entrepreneur with almost a decade of experience in branding, marketing, business development, sales, finance, and investment management experience across industries in UAE, MENA, India, and USA markets. She brings entrepreneurial strategic leadership to work with businesses to create, deliver, and capture value for all stakeholders. Pooja has been featured in several magazines, including World's 10 Businesswomen Making an Impact and Leading Change 2022, and also in Top 21 Admired Women in Business 2021. It is such a pleasure to have you here, Pooja. And um, I'm just waiting to hear what has been your journey so far.
Firstly, thank you so much, Dhruti. It's my pleasure to be here and then to share my story. And thank you. Thanks a lot for that. So my journey so far has been interesting. So how many of you may believe or would know that I'm actually a chemical engineer? I followed my passion, got into branding and marketing, and then I worked with several corporates while I was in India. Then I moved to the UAE in 2016. I was working for a marketing agency across clients, across industry, and having moved, like I've all my life have been born and brought up in Bangalore, but then it was a challenge for me when I moved there to kind of establish my connections and my network there. And that's when you could see me in all of the networking events, actively participating in a lot of SME across borders, try again, and uh, any event you would see me there. And that's when that actually helped me a lot because it kind of changed a lot of things. I got to know a lot of people in a new country which I wasn't aware of. I learned a lot about the culture nuances there and all of that. And then that's when I happened to meet my then investor. So we started a company which was branding, marketing, customer experience management for the healthcare and education sector. Had a couple of quick wins, and then my investor wanted to unilaterally merge the company into his other portfolio company, which was into software development, and that's when I exited. But however, having the relations in the market with the people who I work with and the clients, they definitely wanted me and my service. So that's when I started another company called Venus Cars, which is a branding and marketing firm. Today, we operate in India, in the Middle East, and in the US, where we have helped a lot of startups from the ideation to the launch stage when it comes to from branding. And also I bring in an angle of the business element. And parallelly, I also thought I really need to upskill myself. Having had my first entrepreneurial stint, the lessons that I had, I thought, where I lacked was finance knowledge, because I came from an engineering background, and I thought it's really important for me to upskill, because that's where I kind of, it was like I didn't even know the value of equity, because I gave in around 75% equity to my investor, even though it was all, and I was 25%. So literally, like, these are the things that I learned it the hard way. And I said, you know what, it's time. Coming from an engineering background, I really need to improve that. And that's when I also enrolled in Global Executive MBA with rotation to Dubai and Boston campus. And I also did my private equity and venture capital program from Columbia Business School. And so while I was working and consulting, I was also studying, finishing my MBA. And that's when I happened to meet my amazing cohort and my now business partners for Xagon Ventures. And so Xagon Ventures is a market access accelerator. It's more of giving the X dimensions to all of the stakeholders involved. It's X dimension of business, X returns, exponential growth.
Mhm.
So that's how it is. And then, yeah, so here I am. So uh, with a lot of businesses that I've run in the past, and Xagon Ventures has been my focus. And by the way, Xagon, the X was even before Elon Musk released his X. So we have been
Oh, wow.
December. So
Nice. We got there first. I love that. That's fantastic. I hear a lot of things over here, Pooja, where clearly there have been a lot of changes for you, right? Right from geographical to the startups that you've had, to the ventures that you've led, and clearly you've taken it all in stride. You know, you've learned constantly, but I would also believe that with all these changes came certain challenges. You know, so when you think about that, what are some of the challenges that you faced in this journey that you had?
Firstly, I think the challenges that I faced was with the traditional thinking of the leadership, which always kind of it was more like, I remember when I was in the corporate here, I was actually doing a lot of my tasks and I was doing everything that was needed. But I always had my senior leadership team saying, oh, we cannot give her a manager position just because of the age, or we cannot give her this just, it was, I somewhere felt there was a lot of bureaucracy and not meritocracy. But I always had that belief that one day meritocracy would definitely win. So, against all the bureaucracy. And today, that's where the world is changing. If you see a lot of in the Western countries, 10-year-old, 13-year-old becoming the CEO is because of meritocracy and what you bring on the table. And that's where I think even we all are headed towards as well. I know it's small baby steps, but that was my biggest challenge because I was so aggressive in my career, meaning I would put in those extra hours, I would do all kind of certification, all kind of courses just for my bubble to burst when I enter a meeting. Oh, you know what, I think you need to slow down, I think you're being too aggressive in your career, I think you should, you know things will not work so soon, we work very slowly. That was one of my biggest challenge. And the other biggest challenge, I know it's, I've also spoken a lot about this in the past, but even now it hurts me to say. Sometimes I think women actually stop other women from growing. So I've seen that in the corporate as well, where a lot of other other senior women did not want me to grow in a particular way, and
Mhm.
and they were too intimidated, and so. And then I would always be like, why? So we being from the same, we need to encourage each other, but it's always been the opposite. uh,
Yeah, yeah. And I wish I could say that this is the first time I'm hearing that. There have been multiple occasions where I've heard of this, where I've experienced it personally. So the biases definitely creep in, and I hear that as one of the biggest challenges that you've had, and you being termed as aggressive, right, in a certain way. That okay, slow down, put the brakes. We don't need to do that, thankfully, anymore, right? I think the world is coming around on that. At least the world that we live in, that we collaborate with, the people that we collaborated. So when you were undergoing these challenges, right, around age, around gender, what are some of the things that you did in order to overcome the challenges? And when I say things, I don't just mean tactical stuff. If there is something around mindset that you want to share, or literally like physically doing something, what were some of the things that helped you overcome those challenges?
So I think it was always that constant belief and perseverance. Like even when I saw 99 people not agreeing to something, I always believe that there will be that one person who actually will see what you bring on the table. And then what I continued to do is I continued not to give up, and I continued to put anyone anytime said something. I did that extra effort, to kind of say that, I am capable of this project, or it is very much possible, right? So I always was in that constant, or I am still in that constant thing of putting in that extra effort, because by the end of the day I want the work or the value that I bring on the table to speak more than me selling myself. And that worked extremely well. I know it requires a lot of hard work. So I would, anytime I walk into a meeting, or anytime I walk into a board meeting or anything, I would go so well prepared, and that helped me. So, that helped me. Like, I would play the scenario back saying, okay, these are the kind of questions, or if these are things, so how is that I cover on all aspects, right? What is the worst criticism or the worst thing when you're recommending something, what could happen, and how are you going to overcome that? And I would already prepare for it. So it's like when that situation came, I literally took it with grace, and I'm like, you know what, this is how I solved this. So it was, I think, a lot of preparation, a lot of homework of what you want to say, and people will start seeing that effort that you're putting in, and they will start taking you seriously for sure, irrespective of age or gender. And today I can proudly say that today when I get up on the boardroom and I say, no guys, this is what it is, they believe that yes, what Pooja is saying makes sense, and they get influenced a lot, right? So that influential and persuasion skills came with a lot of homework, a lot of, a lot of reading. Prepare yourself well enough on all the topics that you may face, so that, even if you're faced with challenges, you deal it gracefully.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm hearing some beautiful stuff over here around, self-belief, having the faith, remaining perseverant. Uh, we all know this, right? And we strive to do this. Clearly, you do a lot of research. You said you do a lot of homework. Sometimes you have to study the audience to know what makes them tick, how to influence them better, right? I'm sure all that comes into play. Uh, there are times, however, when it just becomes too much to take. Are there certain things that you practice, that you do in order to keep you going? Like, what's that inner dialogue that helps you remain perseverant?
I think it's that passion and that killing desire that, it's fine. And then and then by the end of the day, you just need to take it as a learning. You should not take things personally. That is something that I've learned. And another thing is, we haven't you wouldn't imagine, but our ecosystem that we are surrounded in, whether it's limited or it's unlimited, ask for help. Like, if you feel like you're stuck, I've always gone back to my mentors and said, you know what, I am stuck, can you please help me? I do not know what the next step is, can you please help me? And I do not have ego in saying that, or I acknowledge the fact that I cannot know it all, and I do not know it all, and I need help from a lot of people who have been there, done that, or who have experienced it. So that experience is something I never shied away from asking my mentors for help. Even till today, I feel a low, or I feel like I'm stuck in a situation, I always pick up the phone, and at that point I feel who is relevant, who can help me. I pick up the call and I say, hey, listen, you know what, I really need to talk, and this is where I am, what do you think? And when you hear it from a different perspective, when you hear like the ecosystem helping you from a different, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I did not think about it this way. And then, yeah, so here it is. So you really need to clear your mind off, and you're not alone in this journey. So don't take all the pressure and be like, oh my god, I'm alone, no one's help you. No, people are willing to help you, given that you ask them for help, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the thing. And the other thing is, it's just that when I'm in a situation where very stressed or this one, I just play like music and I keep listening, and then so you kind of get away, you snap out of that scenario, right? Or else sometimes the other thing, that if it's too intense, I just sleep it out, or I just go for retail therapy or binge watch or something else. So you're breaking the rhythm of the thoughts, you're breaking that. Otherwise it will just be crazy if you're thinking about the same thing. But I just break it, and I'm like, you know what, let me relook at this tomorrow. Until tomorrow, I'm not going to, think about this. And yeah.
Absolutely. And uh, I love the point that you made when you said ask for help, when you need. And a very subtle part of that is to create a network of people who are not exactly like you, who are not your clones, but instead bring about complementary skills. You may know people in finance, in law, in marketing, whatever, wherever the need is, right? And I think create that network before you need it. That's an important aspect as well, because a lot of people start hunting when the need arises. But actually, you need to be a little bit more, you know, proactive in that sense and create your network before you need it. And a beautiful point, which I personally believe in, is the mentoring that you talked about. I think we all need mentors, whether we agree or not. We do need them, and it's just sometimes they're a sounding board. Sometimes they provide you with the advice, and that's all you need at times. And you can call it out as to what that need is. That today I just need you to listen to me. Maybe the idea will come to me when I'm talking to you, or today I need advice from you. So, here are some of the things I'm going through. So I think being very clear in your head as well as to what is it that you're seeking will also help you connect with people better, right? And I personally believe in this. Put it out in the universe. That means talk about it as much as you can, and the answer will present itself if you remain mindful with it. So I think
Totally agree with that, because today I actually, what I am or what I will achieve in the future purely is based on the network that I have, or the network that is supporting me personally or professionally, right? So, and as you rightly pointed out, it's not about your own industry people you need to talk to. You need to be willing to talk to all of the people who's out there doing business in their own way, or having a good career in their own way, because you don't know who is going to be of help when. Like, there are people who I've met in networking events like 8 years back. We have been on the same networking group, and I call them today and say, hey, you know what, I knew you were doing that then, could you help me out in this now? And that's the effect of network. It doesn't, that is something which is going to come along with you for your entire journey of your career. And then, so networking is something that I take very seriously. And then that is something that, and more or less, I am a people's person. So I enjoy talking to a lot of people, enjoy the cross cultural talks, and, learning from each other. And that is something which has molded me to the person I am today. And it's also molding me with my business partners as well. So even amongst my business partners, none of them are Indians. Everyone, there's a UAE Emirati national, there's a Lebanese national, there's a Jordanian national, and it's me. So that itself shows how much of we believe in each other, how much we must have, had we been shy or had we been looked for the similarity, then it would have been like, and all of us are from way different industries. One is nuclear energy industry, hospitality industry, construction. Who would have thought, right, of four of us? But then again, it's business is always the outcome of good relationships. So focus on good relationships, and everything else will happen for sure.
Yeah, and one of the things you said over here, which actually paralyzes a lot of people, so I just want to bring it out there, is you are a people's person. And somebody would say, but I'm an introvert. I don't really know how to build my network, right? And to them, I would just say, take one step at a time, right? I don't know if you have any advices for people who consider themselves to be introvert. In fact, it's quite interesting because I'm reading a book right now called Quiet. And that is the power of introverts in the world. That book is beautiful. I highly recommend for you to read it if you haven't already. There is power within all of us, right? We just kind of need to recognize that and bring on table what you can offer as well as your networking, because I think that just makes such a beautiful, in your words, relationship, right? You cannot just take and take. At some point, you have to offer, you have to give, and I think you can be very successful at that, whether you're an introvert or you are an out and out people's person for that matter.
Actually, to be honest, Dhruti, I don't know if you notice, all of us are introvert and extrovert in our own ways, right? So I would say we are all ambiverts, right? There are certain areas where we want to be like introvert. Like, there's an area of me where when it comes to any of the, family talks and the big talks, you see me like an introvert there saying, you know what, I just keep quiet. But in a business scenario, maybe like, and for others it may be the reverse, right? In the family they might be very open, very like, in the family functions, gatherings, they're talking a lot. And business, they're like, you know what, this is enough. So all of us have that that, like I would completely, as much as I am a people's person, I am introvert in a few areas in my own way, right? But then
Yeah.
it's all about, as you rightly said, what's the power of where do you want to, start talking. But all of us are definitely ambiverts. We are intro and extrovert in our own, based on the audience as well. So I think one thing that I would tell anyone or everyone in terms of introverts is if you're comfortable, then you talk or you network or anything, but it's all on your comfort. So even when you go to a networking event, if there are 100 people, you might end up being comfortable with 5 people, and that is okay. You know, that is completely okay. It's about the quality of relation. It's not the volume game here, right? Okay, I go to a networking event, there are 100 people, I want to network with all 100. No, that's not the thing. If you resonate with even 2 people, or even if you resonate with one person, and you're there, that's more than enough. You don't have to, like, just be out there hard selling yourself every time, right? So uh,
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that, because it's the labels that we put on ourselves which limit us in a lot of ways. I think we just need to kind of peel that label a little bit, see what's lying underneath, and work with that, right? That's super important. Um, Pooja, I believe that, resilience is one of the skills that is super important for every entrepreneur, for every human being, right? But just thinking about entrepreneurs right now, uh, that is one skill which I've heard time and again that has helped entrepreneurs remain above the surface, when you're swimming against the tide. And what has been your experience around it? And how have you remained resilient? You've shared already a few things. Is there anything more that you've experienced that you would like to share?
see, as entrepreneurs, if we have taken a choice to be an entrepreneur, that by itself is, you have that resilience within you. Otherwise, it's not for everyone, right? Not everyone has the courage to be entrepreneurs. And and as you rightly pointed out, resilience is something that we need on a daily basis, every day. Like from the time you wake up to, from until you go to sleep, you are being resilient in everything. Like, that's the way it is, and that's the only way to go. So if you do not want to and it's not, things are not going to come easy your way, and just be prepared for it. Don't expect the ideal world or ideal day, and just accepting that, and saying, you know what, how do I work through these challenges? That if you just change that mindset into, oh my god, is this a challenge, and why is this happening to me, or why is it all so tough? Instead of that, be like, you know what, one thing at a time, it's okay. Let me solve this, let me get through this. And you have these small milestones for yourself that you have set. So literally what happens to me right now, if I have like 50 plus challenges, I tell myself, you know what, one thing at a time. And I celebrate the success of the smaller things that I'm able to tackle. It can be as simple as, you've been trying to reach someone, or somebody's trying to reach you for 5 days, and you're not able to get back to them. And that guilt will keep killing you, like, oh, what am I doing? My entire day is gone. I haven't got back to this person. Oh my God, But then celebrate the success when you actually tell yourself the next day, do a to do list, as to, just create a list and start knocking off things what you're clearing, and celebrate the success of that. Like when you call back to that person, and when you say, you know what, I'm so sorry, I was not able to get back to you earlier. And that guilt level comes down so much, it makes you feel so much better. So I think it's just the matter of how do you navigate through life challenges professionally and personally, is about how good you are in organizing your time, and ensuring that yes, you cannot complete all the tasks, but if you're doing a majority of it, celebrate that, and go and start with that positivity the next day. And yeah, I know it is hard to always be positive. By the end of the day, we are human beings, right? So there are ups and downs, but then acknowledge the fact that, okay, today was not a good day. It's okay, like, I'll just, it's completely okay, because every day, the minute when it starts becoming like, oh my god feeling, is when you want it ideal all the time. But when you acknowledge the fact that it is okay for it not to be ideal, this is the way it is, and not label it into a good day or a bad day, but label it as a day that I did quite some work. That's what matters.
Absolutely. And I think having that priority straight is super important, right? I love the point that you brought about is that don't get trapped into a victim mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why me? Why am I going through this? Look at the other person. Well, you never know what's really going on in anybody else's life or in their head or in their heart. So I think be grateful for what you have and what you're able to achieve. I took a page out of an entrepreneur's book, right? When they said that because you're referring to having a list. And this entrepreneur, he has a habit where every single morning he will write down the things that he needs to do. And what he cannot complete, he will just carry it forward to the next day. But he physically pairs up that list at the end of the day. And he's like, that is such a good feeling. I started doing that. And I'm so much happier by the end of the day now because I feel like, wow, I achieved so much, whether a task is small or big. So I think that's a very practical advice that you're sharing here as well is that, you know,
Actually, previously I would put it on like, like a to-do list digitally, but it was not giving me that satisfaction. So I started with this writing. Even if it's a small thing, I would write. And then the pleasure of knocking it off or ticking it that you have done it is like that's success. That's the little celebration to success, saying, you know what. And those are the times where I take my breaks. So the minute I see like the list is like it's getting scratched or it's getting ticked, then I'm like, you know what, I can have like a coffee in peace. Otherwise, this that always constantly is running in your head. Oh, you have so much, you have so much, you have so much. But when you start seeing you're getting things done, then you're like, okay. And then you can also plan the next day. There might be a day where out of that list, I've not even ticked one, right? So there are days like that as well that I'm like, how did the day go? I did nothing and the day is done and I was working the entire time and I've not done nothing. I'm like, and again, that's a reflection point for you as to, and then at that moment, I always sit and think, what did I do wrong today that I was not able to do anything? Pooja, like the day just went and you've done nothing, but you've been busy in front of your laptop the whole day. So again, that's a good self-reflection exercise to, and the lessons learned, what to not repeat the next day. And then the next day when you at least get one thing, then you're like, okay, at least it was better than yesterday. Yeah, I did something.
absolutely, absolutely. It's about, being a little bit more realistic in the way you're looking at yourself. It's about pausing at certain points. And as you rightly said, either reflect if something has not gone your way or celebrate if it has, right? And have those check ins with yourself in a way. And I think all of us can do it in that sense. So, thank you so much, Pooja. I think it's been a brilliant conversation. And I really, really look forward to catching up in person real soon.
Thank you so much, Ruti. I look forward to catching you up in person as well. And it's my pleasure to share my thoughts. And then you kind of also got a lot of structure into, what I was thinking. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.